What's up, guys, and welcome to episode 109 of the Impact Defense Podcast.
We're almost to 110.
That is true.
11-0, 110. Same difference.
All right, so anyway, in this podcast, this episode, we're going to be talking about setting up a safe room inside of your house.
All right, when you're setting up a safe room, there are a few essentials.
Yes.
Okay, one, you want a system that can be alerted anytime there is an intruder into your home, at which point there will be red flashing lights that start shouting intruder alert. Safe room activated, and then you travel to your kitchen as quickly as you can, preferably as long as your kitchen is near your bedroom. If not, a closet will work. When you reach the counter, you will press the button under the marble counter that opens up one of the cabinets. You're going to shoot down the slide that leads into your nuclear weapons safe bunker. And when you get in there, you're going to press the button on the wall that flips on the lights, and then there will be a dramatic creaking sound as the wall flips around and reveals your full arsenal. Now, when you reach the grenade launcher, you're going to want to pass that up, even though that sounds pretty awesome. And you're going to want to get something that's a little bit more accurate and is preferably not going to shatter your eardrums if you have to fire it. Just let her go. Now, the prison cell that you have in there is for the intruder after you have injured them while you are waiting for law enforcement to get there. That is if you want law enforcement to show up. If you're just going to handle it yourself, that's okay too. Just make sure you don't get caught. But if they're robbing your house, who's really going to miss them anyway? Now, it is important that you do blindfold them before they enter your safe room, just so that, you know, you have that security. But if they never leave that safe room, then you don't really have to worry about it anyway. There is a trash chute on the far left wall, so make sure that... I'm sorry, I've lost it. Just go ahead.
So,
who can really afford this option anyway? Someone with a lot of money.
So that's not quite the type of safe room that I was talking about. Maybe you've watched too many movies. When I was asked Jada to give a dramatic explanation of a safe room, I was thinking she was going to say run into a room and these big metal doors would shoot down and stuff like that. I don't know why I didn't really expect more, but
I didn't even rehearse that. That was improv.
Remember that all that Jada said was not legal advice. Make sure that you please do call the police. Do not handle someone like that.
The only do in that whole thing is have a hidden room in your kitchen cabinet. That is just awesome. And the arsenal. The arsenal is fine too. Maybe not the grenade launcher.
A hidden room in a house. I've always liked that idea. But anyway, that's not what we are talking about.
Or like a bookcase that opens up.
Yeah, I've always wanted something like that.
I don't know. I feel like a bookcase is really awesome. It was really obvious, unfortunately, even with how obvious it is. But you know what? If you want a wardrobe with a false wall, then you got the whole Narnia effect. But I will say slide in the kitchen cabinet would be an awesome second entry to that room.
Okay. So anyway, let's actually talk about how to set up
Dumb waiters are cool.
a safe room in your house. But before we do that, we need to talk about the official fuel of Impact.
Blackout coffee.
Guys, I learned something.
I feel like we need a blackout coffee theme music, for whenever we mention it. Just a really, or explosions or something.
Yeah, that's what I was saying about an explosion.
Explosion.
Yeah. Anyway.
You probably should not have told me to rant about safe rooms.
No, it's great. It was awesome.
My brain is not going to stay on track for the rest of this thing. I am going to be a pit of unuseful information.
So that's fine. Blackout Coffee, you notice these really nice mugs that we all have. They are pretty freaking awesome. They've got Blackout Coffee on one side and the American flag on the other side. They have things on the other. They have also other things on their side as well. So make sure, please, guys, I did learn something. I sent some people over to the website, and if they don't have other sales going on, use our discount code Impact Defense, and that gets you 10% off. But sometimes they have other sales going on. In that case, use those discount codes. Don't use ours, but do us a favor always. Don't just go to the website. Go to impactgear.live/coffee. Okay? This is super.
Impactgear.live/coffee.
This is super, super important, because that way they know that you sent, or that we sent you to them. Because without that, they don't know that, and we don't get any kind of help out of this situation. So these kind of deals work for us because we send people over to them, and then they make purchases, and then with no cost to you, we get a little bit of support from them in return. But that only works if you go to impactgear.live/coffee.
Woo.
Yes.
Woo. 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 Coffee. That
Okay.
is why I was able to ramble about safe rooms.
That's right. I think it's about news story time, though, right?
Oh, probably. I forgot there was a news story. And news story time. So this one comes to us from about 2004 or 2006. They don't remember the exact year anymore. Interesting enough. Which, then again, I don't remember a lot of years, or exact years of things happening. I usually have to.
I got married in 99. I remember that one.
That's the
You
only
know
kinda
what year I was
superimposed.
born?
07.
I feel like
See,
every
I'm
time
good.
I have a year memorized, it is then replaced by the next important life event.
I remember that Jada was born in 2001 because she told me she was born after.
Why say that on the podcast?
Oh. Okay, so my brain is like super sharp because I'm taking my daily magic mind and I'm drinking Blackout Coffee. So I remember all kinds of crap.
I'm touched that you remember it, but say it on the podcast. All right.
Can Uresh, can you like bleep that out? That would be awesome. I know Jada was born on, that kind of thing.
Oh, gosh. All right. At 2 a.m., I hear arguing, and I could hear it through my bathroom wall. I shut my bathroom and then my bedroom to drown it out. At 2:15, a woman is banging on my door. I open it, and she has a broken nose, a left eye swollen, and she's limping from tripping and falling to get out of her apartment where her husband had just beaten her. So I told her to go into the bathroom to clean herself up and then hide in my bedroom. The husband comes out of the apartment yelling her name, and then he notices her blood trail to my apartment. She starts banging on my door, yelling to let him in. I warned him 3 times that if he doesn't stop, I will kill him. And he kicks the lock on the door, and the door swings open. I swing my baseball bat down onto his head. I mean, he did warn him. He falls to the ground stunned, and he lands stomach first. I see a handgun tucked into the back of his shirt, and I grab it and throw it further into my apartment. I warned him one more time. He got up anyway, came at me, and I hit him twice more with my baseball bat. He fell down. Mm-hmm. And died.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, those were some hard baseball bat hits. The police made it to the apartment soon after, and he wasn't charged. And he said, I really wasn't affected as much about this by the situation as I should have, because I feel like I reacted the best way I possibly could for the situation I was in. And you know what? I feel like it helps that, he was protecting someone else in the bedroom. I feel like if anything's going to help you mentally process it is when you can see the person you're helping with your actions, Mm-hmm. But wow. Which is interesting because I think it's highly likely that if he had exchanged his baseball bat for the guy's gun and shot him instead, the other dude might have actually survived.
Yeah. That's still, wow. Okay.
He did warn him twice, though. Once before he came in the door, he hit him once. The guy fell to the ground. He warned him again. He came up and came at him, and then,
Yeah.
got dispatched.
That's Kylie's. I don't know if you heard the podcast where Julie was on and you were not. It was me and Julie and Kylie. But Kylie was talking about the fact that the baseball bat is her preferred home defense weapon of choice.
That's understandable.
Yeah. Julie's preferred home defense weapon of choice was me.
It's tactical Brian. Keep one in your safe room, guys.
And then if it's not
and then
you,
her
it's
second
me
choice was Kylie.
with the baseball bat.
Like birthed her self-defense weapon. It's like, nope, I'm going to have this child. It's going to be trained from the time it is 3 years old so that it can be my personal bodyguard.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty much
whenever, which is a rare occurrence, whenever I'm at the house alone, and someone comes to the door, I generally have my baseball bat on my shoulder.
Harley Quinn style, just ready to roll.
And then I open the door, and then I recognize it's someone that is related to me. So I put it down and everything. But that is my home defense weapon of choice. And normally I try to keep it in the living room. I can't find it now, but I will. I think it's in the office.
See, with my house, I feel like a gun isn't the best home defense weapon for where I live, just because I live in a camper and it's just a little bit, the walls are too close in and everything. A gun is not my first self-defense weapon choice for inside of my house.
Also, there are people around you.
Exactly. It's just too small, and if my husband is anywhere but in the exact same room with me,
Yeah.
it's just too dangerous for my taste. So
samurai sword it is.
Actually, it is a sword.
Okay.
But it's shorter, so it's just past dagger length, actually. But that is right. Yeah. Anyway, that's there.
All right.
But that was not my point. I had something else. No, I asked my mom one day because she concealed carries, and at the time I was not 21, but I was already, I was still working here and everything, and we had to go somewhere that was actually fairly sketchy, but it was kind of a no way around it sort of situation. Okay. But it was not a good time and not a good place, but we had to be there, and we were together, and I was asking her what her plan was if something went down,
Mm-hmm.
Because we were there with a group of women, so this was a women's trip. Anyway, I asked her what her plan was if something went down and something happened, and I was asking about where she carried and how many rounds she had, things like that. And she was like, honestly, Jada, my plan is if something goes down, I'm handing you my gun because you're a better shot. And she's like, and you have self-defense insurance. So. And I was like, okay. So that's my mom's plan, is she's carrying a gun to hand me.
Well, we did have a guy on the podcast one time. I'm pretty sure it was stated on the podcast, but just in case it wasn't, I won't say who it was. But he was talking about the fact that he always carries more than one gun on him at a time. And he said basically that's he said, if I was out and around and Kylie was there, she's not 21 yet. He says, and I know if the crap hits the fan, I can pull out a gun, I can hand one to her, and I can have one for me. And he says, because I know she can shoot. So,
oh gosh.
He said, so one's for me and one's for a friend. I was like, okay, all right. Anyway, I think we've.
Now I'm just picturing being out in public and, something going down, and then you got the one friend that's former military and is, stay strapped to get clapped kind of person. It's something goes down and all of a sudden he's pulling one out of his waistband, handing it to one of you, the one off his ankle to hand to you, and it's pulling the giant full size from his appendix for himself, and he's like, all right, formation, let's go.
All right, well, we are talking about home defense today.
right.
Safe room.
Setting up a safe room.
Oh,
Right.
man, all that was the intro. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I think it was entertaining. I hope everybody else did as well. All right. Okay, let's talk about things for a moment. First off, some points that we have to think about when we're setting up a safe room. Number one, you need to select a room in your home that is centrally located. I say preferably a parent's room because, you're going to have a weapon in there. You need a weapon in there. We'll talk about what you have to have in there later.
So yeah, think about everyone that's kind of in your house and what you would need to do for all of those people to be safe. Now, one thing that you're going to need to think about is if you have children like under a certain age that would not know to come to a different location. If that's the case, your safe room might actually need to be your nursery.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. So let's think about this for a moment. We've talked about home defense for a while now. You start off, everything is layers. So you have this outer layer. If you've done everything right, you're trying to deter people from breaking into your house from to begin with through lights, through ways of doing things, setting up, signs saying that you've got security systems. Okay, then you kind of move in, and then you've hardened your doors, you've made your windows harder to break into, and all of this made it harder to actually get inside of your home. So you've now bought time for people to get where they need to get to inside. And then you have an alarm and all of this other stuff that's going on to kind of deter once they do get inside. But if everything else hits the fan and you've got all of that, then by the time they get in, you need to have a safe room.
Okay, so preferably a parent's room, but you're going to have to take into consideration on the mobility of every person in your home. You basically want to make it the safest location in your home.
Agreed. Then you want to think about the door that's there. Kind of like you do on the outside. You want to harden that door. Now, some people do actual deadbolts on there as well. But as long as I think you have a good quality doorknob, you're probably okay.
Maybe don't have a visible steel plate on the door or anything because people will question that if they enter your home.
But you do probably want a heavier door than a general.
Heavier door.
Think about it. How thin and light and easy are those doors to break in? An interior door. How easy it to just break the door? And this is one of those cases where if I have a heavier door that's not going to break, then that's going to be better. We're going to do the longer screws
in the frame,
like you would for an outside door, and have a little better quality door knob.
Maybe more than 2 hinges. You want hinges that are good quality and not something that's just going to snap because, there are essentially about 3 different ways they can bust through. One is by busting through the bolt of the door. One is by breaking the frame of the door, and another is by busting it off of its hinges.
Yep.
When you're not looking at just, opening an unlocked door.
Yeah. But you want a door that is not like most interior doors that just have a little, you can stick anything in the door and turn it, or you can stick anything in the door and just so a better actual doorknob. And then, like I said, some people go as far as putting a deadbolt on there as well, and that's up to you. I don't, but just a regular kind of.
When you're going to want to make sure that the little, what is it called? The thing that actually moves when you turn the doorknob in and out, that locks in place whenever you shut the door. Just part of the doorknob.
The cylinder?
Through. Yeah. There's usually a curved side and a flat side.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure the flat side is the part that points out. So the curved side should be the one facing the inside of the room so that someone can't just slip a credit card through. It is entirely too easy to just slide a credit card through a door.
Okay, I know what you're talking about now. Yep. All right, and what kind of things should we have in the safe room?
Baseball bat.
Okay. Well, let's. So a weapon. Yeah, you want a weapon?
Improvised weapon.
No, you don't need an improvised weapon. That's not the time to go, all right, I'm going to take my keys and shove it in your eye. No, we want a weapon.
Sorry.
I know we're not amazing on time. And by that, I mean, we're running really low. But One thing you want to consider, especially if your safe room is actually going to have to be in a nursery of some sort because of the age of your children, the weapon that is in your safe room, you're going to have seriously locked up. Like, it can't.
Yes.
It can't be readily accessible like it could if it were in your room.
Yeah.
Because, obvious reasons. And, you're going to get a whole lot of people who cringe when you even suggest putting a weapon in a nursery, But if it's your safe room, you need to have something there.
Well, you can do these things where they're mounted high up and locked up really well, and all of this kind of stuff where nobody even needs to know it's there.
In the top of a closet on the inside is usually a good option, especially in a nursery, because you shouldn't be able to see it when you look up into the closet, especially if it's flat against the wall on the side of the door. So, like, walking into the closet, looking up on the same wall as the door, you could have it mounted. And I used to, in the house I grew up in, my closet had a little ledge there that you could not see on top of if you just looked into the closet, and that's where I hid anything I didn't want my brothers to find.
Yeah. So you want a cell phone in that room. If it is not, you want a cell phone that stays in that room, essentially. Now, if it's like your room, and you have your cell phone in your room at night, it's not that big of a deal. But let's say if it's a nursery or something like that, or just another room, just an old cell phone that's in that room, because any cell phone you can call 911 from, whether there is service to that or not. So if it's not a room that you are in, if it's not your bedroom, leave an old cell phone in that room so you can do that. You want a flashlight. So if the crap hits the fan, you can use the flashlight.
And you want a bright one, a really bright one, like a blind someone and...
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good to have an extra set of house keys and car keys in case you need to get out. If you need to get out of the window, if it's a really bad situation, or if you've barricaded yourself well in your room and the police are on the way because you've called the police, you can actually throw a set of keys out the window to the police. That's actually a good idea as well. And we go to the home defense weapon of choice. We've talked about already, kind of a baseball bat, a gun, whatever. We can have discussions at some point in time. Not today. We're already running longer than we had planned. But, we can talk about like what is the best gun for home defense and stuff like that another day. But, yeah, you want to have some type of weapon that you're ready to go.
And if you have a second floor home.
A second floor home.
Whatever.
A second floor safe room.
Yeah.
Yeah, second floor safe room. Have a small or folding ladder that you can get down.
Yeah, you want a means of escape. So that's...
You don't want to have to be the person who has to tie a whole bunch of sheets together at the last second.
And test the theory, will it actually work, or is it just a movie and cartoon thing?
Yes.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's just some really quick tips on setting up a home self-defense, or not self-defense, but safe room. So this is something that needs to go into the thought process, because your goal is to keep yourself and your family safe.
Yeah. We would like to take this time to bring up CERT pistols. So that is actually a really good training, especially if your in-home defense weapon is a gun. A CERT pistol is something that is realistically weighted and has a realistic trigger pull that shoots a laser instead of an actual projectile. And it is really great for in-home defense practice because you're not at risk of punching a hole through your wall with like an airsoft gun or something, and you don't have to just walk around your home, pretending your soup ladle is a home defense weapon. You can get more realistic practice and really think about where it would be okay to pull the trigger, where it wouldn't, and practice being on target without expending a ton of rounds of ammo in practice outdoors. You can practice inside of the home with no danger. Yep.
And, it's funny, something I forgot to mention when we're talking about setting up a safe room. I did not mention that, like, one of the things that you want to do is make sure you set yourself 90 degrees to the door. And that way, if somebody does make it inside there, then you can use your self-defense weapon, your gun, whatever. What I usually tell people when we're teaching a home defense class is set yourself 90 degrees to the door. And if they come through, then you properly ventilate them. And with your home defense gun. And then that will help you not be like an immediate target there if you're 90 degrees to the door.
If you guys are enjoying this podcast, go ahead and go over to Apple Podcasts or any type of podcast catcher you have. Rate us and please, 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 please write a review. That way we can start reading your reviews on the podcast.
I think she adds a please every time she does this.
That's what it feels like, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yep, guys, thank you very much for listening to the podcast, and we will see you in the next one. I was about to say what the next one is, but I can't remember exactly. I think we have a guest.
Possibly.
Probable.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, guys, see you in the next one.